Welcome back to Sissy Maid. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. Carol's situation was tough. Cleaning her landlady's house before sunrise for rent, then taking care of 2 unruly baby boys and working as a babysitter, often cleaning houses late into the night. Her son Johnny added to her troubles. Johnny had a history of trouble, from carrying weapons to receiving stolen goods. Expelled from schools, he roamed with his friends. Carol worried about his next misdeed, wondering if it was puberty or peer influence. Returning home exhausted one evening, she found a police message about Johnny's arrest for missing court. Overwhelmed, she disconnected the phone and slept. The following day, Carol cleaned a mansion where 4 ladies lived. They sympathized when she mentioned Johnny's jail time, suggesting ways to reform him. Carol knew it was a tough decision. Tina recalled her own childhood, where delinquency seemed normal. Carol pondered her options. "Tina's correct," Laura chimed in. "There's a strong possibility, very strong, that we can reform him." Alice, another house resident, commented, "Female culture is superior." Laura's right, even if she's a bit tough sometimes. Linda added, "Wouldn't you love a full-time maid at your service?" "I would, and he'll be an obedient maid by the time we're done." Carol politely declined their proposal, stating it wasn't justified for now. The 4 Tina's ladies exchanged smiles and left it at that. A few days later, Carol cleaned Johnny's room, curious about his recent activities. She found a bag of white powder, suspecting illegal substances. After confirming it as illegal substance, she discovered cash, realizing Johnny was dealing. Contemplating her options, Carol hesitated to turn him in, still feeling maternal towards him. Remembering Laura's suggestion, she hoped for reform rather than incarceration. After a lengthy discussion, Carol and Laura pursued custody transfer in court. Meanwhile, Johnny, released from jail, returned to his old habits. Carol felt relief when the court granted custody transfer. Preparation for Johnny's reckoning began swiftly. On the Saturday night following the court order, the 4 Tina's ladies gathered in Carol's apartment, awaiting Johnny's return from his usual escapades. They made an imposing group as they passed the time playing cards, anticipating Johnny's arrival. Carol pondered the impressiveness of the 4 women: Laura, Alice, Linda, and Tina. Laura stood out, a forceful figure who conceived and pushed the plan they were about to execute. Despite Carol's reservations, she recognized its necessity. Laura's past as a mistress in a female domination house shaped her demeanor, reflected in her strict attire of high collars, tight corsets, and high heels, apparel she seemed inseparable from. Alice, tall like Laura but more slender and graceful, also ran a home computer business. Her commitment to her corset was legendary, striving for an exceptionally small waist. Carol wondered about Alice's legs, always concealed beneath layers of long dresses, petticoats, and occasionally a crinoline, reminiscent of old family portraits. Linda and Tina operated their business from home, the beauty shop bearing Tina's name. Carol knew Tina also practiced electrology and both were licensed beauticians. Linda, though exuding a sense of feminine authority like Laura, presented it more subtly. Unlike Laura's imposing black pinstripe suit, Linda's attire, with a less restrictive collar and moderately heeled pumps, reflected a more relaxed approach. Tina, on the other hand, often opted for conventional clothing. All 4 Tina's ladies surpassed Carol in height and carried themselves with an admirable confidence she longed to emulate. She felt grateful for their support. As midnight passed into the early hours, the 5 women waited for Johnny, whose reckless behavior jeopardized his and Carol's lives. With each passing hour, Carol marveled at Laura and Alice enduring their corsets. Laura noted the limited time window for moving Johnny discreetly. They agreed to postpone the operation if he didn't arrive within the next half hour, rescheduling for the following Saturday. 20 minutes later, Johnny stumbled home inebriated, prompting the 4 Tina's ladies to conceal themselves as he unlocked the door. Carol, seated on the couch, greeted him, remarking on his usual disruptive behavior. "Mom, lay off," Johnny began, interrupted as Linda and Tina restrained his legs while Laura subdued him, handcuffing him. Alice intervened, halting Laura's assault as Johnny protested. "I've had it with you. You're irresponsible, causing trouble at school, and now this." Carol confronted him, revealing the illegal substance she discovered. "Drug addict," one of Tina's associates remarked. "You have two options. I call the police and report you. Dealing illegal substances carries a mandatory prison sentence in this state," Carol concluded. "Don't drop the soap," Laura quipped with a giggle. Carol continued, presenting the options. 2. I have a court order transferring parental custody to these women. Do you prefer prison? Johnny hesitated, considering his situation. For women seemed preferable to jail, where he knew the harsh reality. Agreeing to go with them, Johnny found himself restrained by Linda, his mother teasing him as they led him to Tina's parlor van. Linda secured him with leg irons, a blindfold, and a gag, while Carol commented on his appearance. En route, Alice drove aimlessly, disorienting Johnny despite the shop's proximity. With dawn approaching, they returned home, escorting him blindfolded to an attic room, chaining him to a chair. Laura silenced his outburst, retrieving a device and threatening him. Shocked, Johnny protested as Laura aimed at him. "A cattle prod does its job," Laura remarked before striking Johnny in the face, grappling with him as he retaliated by spitting. She tightened her grip around his neck, exerting pressure until his defiance dissolved into submission. After 2 minutes, Johnny yielded, enduring Laura's choke hold for an additional 30 seconds to emphasize her dominance, followed by Tina's kick to his shins. "You're worthless," Tina scorned. "A disgrace to humanity. You disgust me." Linda chimed in, dismissing Carol's previous complaints and asserting their determination to reform him. "You'll undergo a transformation," she declared. "From a worthless, uncivilized macho jerk to a productive and refined lady. You'll serve us, the 4 superior women, as a proper lady's maidservant. And you'll learn to enjoy it. And we have the legal authority," Laura interjected. "Your mother obtained a court order granting me custody for as long as we deem necessary. Plus, we possess the illegal substance." "What illegal substance?" Johnny feigned ignorance. A sharp kick to the shins silenced his act. "Don't play innocent," Laura retorted. "We know about the illegal substances you've been peddling. We have them, and we'll hand both them and you over to the police if you behave inappropriately or fail to meet our standards, Ginny." "My name's Johnny." "Not anymore. You're Ginny now." "It's Johnny." Turning to Alice, Laura requested the cattle prod. Alice complied, handing it over as Laura activated it once more. "What's your name?" she demanded. "Johnny." "Zap." "Scream." "Johnny." "Zap." "Scream," repeated several times. "Fine, you stubborn fool." "Ginny." "Now, Ginny, my dear, let's address your attitude. You referred to me as a ball-breaking bitch. While I do believe that a dose of genital pain can be effective with males, I am a lady, not a bitch. You will apologize for that. I am a lady. Now, what am I? A bitch." "Zap." "Scream, screw you, bitch." Ginny spat at Laura. "Very well." Laura applied the cattle prod to Ginny's genitals, causing her to nearly faint from the electric shock. Laura proceeded to slap Ginny's face 10 times before continuing the torment. An hour later, Ginny conceded that Laura was indeed a lady, not a bitch. "Now, Ginny, you are a submissive lady's slave maid." "What are you, Ginny?" "Zap." "Scream, ZAP." "Scream." "Very well. You acknowledge that you are a submissive lady's slave maid. Will you behave like a proper lady?" "Yes." "Good. No need for further punishment. You're learning. My name is Lady Laura, and these ladies are Lady Alice, Lady Linda, and Lady Tina." "Who is this, Lady Linda, Lady Laura?" Ginny complied. "Good. Very good." The women stripped Ginny naked, restrained him with chains, and escorted him to the maid chamber,
where he collapsed from exhaustion. When Johnny regained consciousness in a dimly lit room, he discovered himself handcuffed to a belly chain. Upon further examination, he realized his legs were bound by leg irons, one of which was connected to an object resembling a heavy suitcase. Attempting to rise, he stumbled from the makeshift bed, only to collide with the opposite wall of his cell. Despite his limited mobility, he could sit, stand, and take one shuffling step before hitting another barrier. Locating the door, he pounded on it, shouting for help. Minutes later, a bright floodlight illuminated the room, accompanied by a soft but firm female voice. "Such behavior won't be tolerated, Ginny," she declared. "You'll stay in the service room quietly until summoned by your superiors. You'll remain silent and learn that we're in control. You'll comply and grow accustomed to it." In response, Johnny unleashed obscenities, pounding on the door, while the 4 women outside laughed and disregarded his protests. As hours passed, his shouts subsided. Periodic loud buzzes prevented him from drifting into deep sleep. Growing increasingly hungry and thirsty, Johnny's outbursts intensified, yet went unanswered. Outside the service room, one of the women briefed the others, "Remember, we must maintain our subject's disorientation. She shouldn't know her location, the time, or what to expect next. This confusion is crucial as we shape and refine her." After enduring several days in the service room, deprived of proper facilities, the buzzer sounded once more, accompanied by blinding light. "Are you awake?" a voice inquired. "Yes," Johnny responded. A door flap opened, and bread and a small bottle of water were pushed inside before the light faded. Hours later, the lights illuminated once more, and the door flap reopened. Johnny cautiously peeked out, prompting Laura's sudden appearance, wielding her riding crop against his neck. "Are we making progress with your behavior?" she inquired, tightening her grip. "What's that?" "I can't hear you," she said casually, exerting more pressure until Johnny managed to croak out a response. "Your name is..." "Johnny, choke." "Ginny, very good. Now, drink this bottle of water, refreshing. And hold on to the bottle, because you won't receive more water anytime soon. You'll have to rely on your urine. Until you learn to behave, that is. Now, beg for mercy." "No. Back in your cage then. See you later, don't go away. *giggle star. With that, the door was locked, and Ginny was returned to the service room. Several days later, the door reopened. "Hey, thirsty? Of course you are. Well, drink this. It's my essence, my nectar. Drink it." "No." "Then you'll have nothing else to drink until you do, and unlike you, I can wait. Hey Linda, could you bring over that pizza and soda pop?" "Thanks. Delicious. Now, if you drink my offering, you can have some too, so drink." "Very good. Now, we'll let you finish the soda, then we'll recite our catechism. Repeat after me. My name is Ginny. My name is Ginny. I am a worthless male vomit bag. I am a worthless male vomit bag. Good. I will be a proper lady's maid. I will be a proper lady's maid. Excellent. I will always obey the orders of the ladies who trained me. I will always obey the orders of the ladies who trained me. Now, you're ready to begin your transformation." The door swung open, revealing Laura and Linda standing ready to lead him downstairs, restrained in handcuffs and chains, to the beauty shop. Tina awaited, armed with straps to secure Johnny's head, neck, arms, and legs to a revolving chair. With a menacing laugh, Tina produced an electrology needle, teasing, "This will hurt you more than it hurts me." *giggle*, as Johnny screamed and Laura delivered a blow to his ears. "Quiet. This is nothing compared to what's in store if you misbehave," she warned, observing Johnny's pleading gaze, although Laura had no compassion for him. She refrained from further punishment during the electrology procedure, which seemed to last all night, with the blackout drapes obscuring any hint of dawn. Upon completion, Tina expertly shaved Johnny's face before commencing a beauty treatment. "Ah, you look lovely, Johnny dear. Take a look in the mirror," Tina cooed. "Protesting? Do you want Linda to return, or worse, Laura? Admit it, your former male life was a failure. You're embarking on a new journey as a woman employed and respected. What more could you desire? Now, it's time to see Alice. Upstairs. Mart. Tina escorted Ginny to a dressing room where Alice, Laura, and Linda awaited. One of the women snapped handcuffs behind Ginny's back and removed all other restraints. This is your new wardrobe, Ginny dear, Linda began. As a maid, you'll wear a maid's uniform, and you won't need any other clothing. We'll dress you this first time, and afterward, you'll be responsible for dressing yourself. And if you're caught out of uniform, Laura interjected, brandishing the cattle prod. First, this, Alice continued. She picked up a device, a leather belt connected to a steel bar, which linked to a steel collar covered in leather. Despite Ginny's handcuffed resistance, Alice secured the device in place as Ginny protested, I can't breathe. Let me out. I'll behave. You'll act like a lady and keep quiet, Laura commanded, delivering a sharp slap across Ginny's face. Alice, what's next? She continued, releasing Ginny's handcuffs only to restrain her to a hanging rack. Together, the four women fitted Ginny with a corset, exerting considerable effort to tighten it until the laces finally met after several broke. Padlocks were then used to secure the corset closed and locked. Now, don't you look lovely, my dear? They cooed. Soon, you'll be as graceful as Alice, able to wrap your hands around your waist just like her. Alice demonstrated by placing her hands around her waist. Next came a pair of stockings, followed by leather pants that locked at the back. As you can see, Ginny, you'll no longer be able to urinate without permission. You'll have to hold it in. If you behave, we may allow you to relieve yourself, Laura explained. Layered atop were a chemise, a pair of long bloomers, black gloves, and a petticoat. These were followed by the maid's uniform itself, a black dress with an apron, modestly covering Ginny from her neck brace down to just below her knees. The back of the dress was buttoned up tightly, ensuring her knees remained rigidly together, allowing only hobbling steps. Finally, a pair of high-heeled shoes were placed on her feet, and she was uncuffed. Tina touched up her makeup while Ginny stood woozy and struggling to breathe. Linda then fastened a serving collar around Ginny's neck and shackled her hands to a chain, giving her very limited mobility. You have two options, Ginny. Behave as a good lady's maid, and we'll return you to your mother. Or disobey us, and you'll be confined to the service room until you forget the year or the planet you're on. Now, here's your daily routine. It's time for you to make breakfast. Get to it. Oh, please. No pleading. You got yourself into this mess. Any speech other than yes, my lady will be punished with a ball gag or a bit in your mouth. Understand? Ginny did, and under the strict supervision of Laura and Linda, she prepared breakfast and served it to the four ladies. The rest of the day was filled with intensive house cleaning, overseen by the ladies, who drove her relentlessly. By day's end, Ginny struggled to catch her breath due to her tightly laced attire. As a consequence of wetting her leather breeches, which none of the ladies would unlock despite Ginny's pleas, Laura decreed she would wear them, wet and chafing, day and night for 3 days. After serving dinner to the ladies, Ginny was summoned to the living room. There, Laura, Linda, and Alice removed their collars and heels and instructed Ginny to massage them meticulously, a task that proved to be exquisite torment for Ginny, given the restrictive attire she was forced to wear. These instruments of torture could not be removed or loosened in the slightest. Once the painful task was completed, they escorted her back to the service room, provided her with some food, removed her serving chains, uniform, and shoes, but not her corset and brace, and reminded her, the more you behave, the easier it'll be for you. In the initial months, Ginny attempted a few feeble revolts, all of which were swiftly quashed using methods Laura had acquired during her tenure as a professional mistress and eagerly imparted to the other ladies. Ginny's daily routine unfolded as follows. Each morning, a deafening alarm and blinding lights roused her in the service room. She had to swiftly don her makeup, uniform, and serving chains. Any deviation from uniform regulations was promptly punished by whoever was overseeing her. 30 minutes later, once her appearance passed inspection, the designated lady unlocked the chamber door and escorted her to the toilet. Following this, Ginny took orders for and prepared breakfast for her 4 mistresses. If breakfast proceeded without incident, she was permitted to consume whatever leftovers remained on the ladies' plates before attending to the dishes. Subsequently, she tackled the house chores assigned by her handler, prepared lunch and dinner, and concluded her day by massaging her owners' necks and feet. Finally, she was locked back into the service room until the following day. Ginny pondered which of the ladies was the cruelest. Tina's preferred method of both training and punishment involved the electrology needle, which Ginny endured countless times during her confinement, causing her to scream in agony despite the heavy gag. Linda, on the other hand, was more inclined to verbal threats, often using Tina's needle as a deterrent. Laura, however, went beyond mere physical pain. She aimed to break Ginny's will through various exercises, such as making her repeat statements like "I am a lady's maid" or "I was a worthless male" hundreds of times, both orally and in writing. Despite her seemingly mild demeanor, Alice was relentless in her corset training, gradually tightening Ginny's waist by an inch every few weeks until Ginny could match Alice's slender waistline. Additionally, Alice enforced a simulated menstrual period by requiring Ginny to wear feminine sanitary supplies for 2 to 12 days every approximate 4 weeks. Approximately once a week, Ginny's corset and brace were removed for bathing, during which all of them, including Ginny, took pleasure in rubbing and gently caressing the marks left by the corset and brace. After bathing, they would reapply the corset and brace. Weeks turned into months, and Ginny lost track of time. The 4 ladies controlled the duration of Ginny's ownership by randomly rolling dice each time, and they frequently rotated positions in the rotation. The absence of natural light and temperature control mechanisms, coupled with blackout draperies, obscured the passage of seasons. Furthermore, Ginny was kept in the dark regarding civil time and date, as the ladies maintained multiple calendars and time zones that Ginny was unfamiliar with. After experiencing ownership from each of the ladies multiple times, Ginny noticed a change during her bath day when she was being unbraced and unlaced. Seeking permission to speak, she gestured to her chest and inquired, "Am I developing breasts?" One of them paused, then affirmed, "Yes. And thanks to corsetry and hormones, you're becoming more beautiful every day. Soon you'll be as stunning as Alice, and we'll all celebrate." With that, they embraced her warmly. Approximately once a month, the ladies hosted various guests for a party, comprising women, crossdressers, and a few unconventional males, where Ginny was expected to impeccably serve. Over time, after enduring enough discipline, she performed flawlessly in her duties. At these gatherings, a mysterious woman, completely covered and masked, silently observed. Although the parties extended into the late hours, Ginny was thankfully returned to the service room before they concluded. However, after serving at several of these events, Ginny wasn't immediately put to bed but was kept on duty until the departure of all guests except for one, the masked woman. They descended to the living room and Ginny attended to them as instructed, fetching drinks. As she returned, the woman removed her mask, revealing herself to be Ginny's mother, causing Ginny to almost drop the drinks in astonishment. "Mother," she exclaimed. "Yes, Ginny," she confirmed. "Is that really you? Are you here to bring me home?" Ginny inquired. "Yes, I've finally become convinced that your behavior has improved enough for me to take you back," her mother replied. "Oh, please, Mom, you can't possibly understand what I've endured." "Oh, but I do," she smiled knowingly. "Ginny, have you ever wondered why you were locked up early on party nights? It was so I could have discussions with these ladies to track your progress. By the way, Ginny is your new name from this moment onward. Also," Carol said, gesturing towards the other ladies, "would you like to show Ginny something?" And as if in unison, the 4 women who had held Ginny's attention for so long stood up, lifting their dresses. "What? You're actually men?" "No, that's not accurate," Linda clarified. "We prefer to be called gender ladies." "That's what you are now. Carol then escorted her daughter home, revealing that Ginny had been away for a year and a half. At 17.5 years old, Ginny returned to find a wardrobe filled with dresses awaiting her. "Mother," she groaned. "Haven't you had your fill? Do you really think your macho friends will even recognize you now that you're all dolled up? By the way, I've shared photos of you wearing dresses with all your friends." In the months that followed, Ginny discovered her mother was right. Stripped of her male attire, she felt too ashamed to face her friends outside. Instead, her mother brought them over, one by one, to publicly shame her child and erase any trace of Johnny's former life. At midnight of Ginny's 18th birthday, Carol barged into her room. "You're 18 now. You're free to live your life as you wish. And I'm no longer supporting you. MOM. Don't mom me. At least you have somewhere to go." "Where?" Then Tina entered the room. "A competent maid is hard to come by. You were one, after we trained you. If you return, you'll be hired help. We'll provide room and board, and you'll work for us as a maid. You won't even be confined, it's your choice. Work for us or live on the streets. Make the smart choice." Ginny turned to her mother. "I got rid of your illegal substances and confiscated your drug money," she declared. "You can fend for yourself because I won't be taking you in." So Ginny made the wise decision and chose to go with Tina. The second time around was somewhat better. Ginny worked for her keep and behaved herself, knowing she had no desire to live on the streets. The ladies were also less harsh this time, understanding that Ginny was gradually becoming less attached to her old life as Johnny with each passing month. Eventually, Johnny's resistance faded away completely. Several years have passed since then. Ginny is now respected and cherished. She eventually got married and moved out of state. On the first Christmas after her departure, her 4 mentors shed tears of joy upon receiving a card and a lengthy letter from her, expressing gratitude for guiding her onto the right path and transforming her from a troublemaker into a refined lady.